Leetula, way over there. Quinnis, gray whale, was there. And gray whale found himself high up on the beach in the hot mud and rocks in the summer. And boy, it was hot and dry. He knew he could not live long on that hot, dry mud and rocks. So there Quinnis called out to his relatives for help. And this is kind of what Quinnis sounded like when he called for help. Usually we say habu. If you want to say habu during the pauses, that's great. That's your part. And there, good thing, one of the relatives heard. There was cousin Flounder, and Flounder was not very big. He was only about that big. The only one that heard, but he came up anyway. He got underneath Whale and he put his fins up. He stretched his back and he got his tail fin down there the best he could. Oh, and he pushed as hard as he could underneath Whale. And Whale's blubber only jiggled. It wasn't good enough. And there, so they both called out to the water, to the relatives for help. And this is what they sounded like. And you can help if you want, so you get to learn a little whale language. Let's hear you call for help to your relatives in the water. That was pretty good. I could understand you. And there, so the next one came up. It was cousin Soulfish, and Soul was just a little bigger. Oh, he came up next to Flounder, and they both put their fins up. And hey, wait a minute. You guys gonna let Flounder and Soul lift Whale by themselves? No, let's work together. Let's go. Okay, fins up. We're all members of the Sailor Sea here. Okay, and stretch your back, stretch your soul back a little. Get your fin down there. Okay, here we go. Let's push as hard as we can. And Whale went up. 1 inch only. It wasn't good enough. Maybe somebody out there wasn't pushing very hard. We don't know. And there, so they all three cried out to the water for help. Okay, let's hear your best whale call for help. Here we go. You get to speak another language. That was really good. And there, so the next one came up. It was cousin Halibut, and Halibut was really, really big. He was huge. He was almost as big as a slallacub. That's right. We have sea monsters in our Sailor Sea. We also have leprechauns and mermaids, so get used to it. That's where we live. And so he was not a sea monster. He was just really big fish. So he came up and he got next to Flounder and Soul, and they all three put their fins up. Okay, fins up, everybody. Here we go. Okay, stretch your halibut back. That's right. Get your tail fin down there and let's push. Here we go. Let me hear you push. And they couldn't believe it. Woohoo! Oh, they lifted up Whale, but all of a sudden Whale came down and landed on Flounder, Soul, and Halibut. Well, it turns out that those rocks and mud, they were really slippery and algae and everything, and their tail fins slipped out, and Whale landed on Flounder, Soul, and Halibut. And that's why Flounder, Soul, and Halibut, even today, are all flattened out like this. They got flattened out, and their eyeballs are no longer in the front of their faces. They got moved to the side of their faces from the day that they lifted up Whale. And maybe they could have been just a little bit more careful, and that is all. This hoist.